Welcome to the Blerds podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blerds podcast. I'm Shannon.
I'm James.
And we're back bringing you all our thoughts on everything happening in nerd culture. Fortunately, Jaja couldn't be with us today. He has to work, so he doesn't get a shout out of shame. And he let us know way ahead of time. But we have a very cool show coming up for you guys. As I mentioned last week, we're going to have Gwasera on the show. He is multifaceted. He's a voice actor and a creative director of an upcoming video game, Yasuke, a Lost Descendant. The demo's out right now on Steam, so you can play the demo for free. So we're going to talk to him coming up very shortly. But before all of that, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you do not subscribe, if you listen to us, which a lot of you do, then you should just subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd appreciate it. It will help us out a lot. And yeah, James, what have you been up to? It's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it has. I was in Dallas last weekend hanging out with my friends, so having a good time out there. Nothing really nerdy. Actually, we went to this place called I forget what it's called now. But it was like a VR gaming thing where you put these visors on and it's a spatial awareness kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, we played a Batman game in there, so that was fun. That was like the nerdiest thing of the weekend. It's called Virtual Game Box. So they have them in a bunch of different places.
Yeah, I've been to one of those. They have one here.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But as far as nerdy things go, been watching a lot of stuff. Not a whole lot of reading, but yeah, as far as watching, it just started this season. It's called Gachi Yakuza. I don't know if I pronounced that right. They haven't said it in the show yet. So far, really interesting. I think it's 2 episodes out right now. Maybe a third drops today while we're recording. This one is kind of like a 2-time nerdy thing. So I'm double Jeopardy nerdy with this one. It's called Ruri Rocks. So it's an anime about geology. So they are.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. It's an anime about geology. So they're essentially looking for like crystals and stuff like that in Japan. But they explain, how the crystals and stuff are formed, and even rocks and how to find them, or what clues to look for when you find them. I am just a fan of science, so this was right up my alley. It's a little bit, I don't want to say fan servicey, but one of the characters is particularly curvy, and they use some pretty suggestive camera angles,
of course,
at times.
So,
but I mean, she's fully clothed. It's just, why is the camera angle like this? Like, why are we at like? Well, the other character is like a child, so she's like short. So sometimes it'll be like, I think it's showing from her POV. So like the camera will be like directly on the other girl's butt. So
that doesn't make it any less fan servicey though. Yeah, that still sucks.
Like why? But yeah, she's still fully clothed and all that. So it's not weird. It's just like, why this angle? So yeah, I finished Fire Force, the latest season that's out. So yeah, I finally went through and binged that. I did start The Summer Hikaru Died. I only got through 1 episode though, but it's pretty interesting. All the way caught up in To Be Hero X. Dr. Stone has started. I'm definitely caught up in that. I love Dr. Stone. Gaming wise, I've pretty much just been on Marvel Rivals. And actually, oh wait, let me show you something. I went ahead and did it. I got me a PS Portal.
You got one too? Oh my God, James! I didn't even know you wanted one because you did not seem interested at all. Yeah,
I was considering it already, but so Prime Day, I got a free trial of Prime, and then there was a crazy sale. It was like $160, so I was like, I might as well.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Can't beat that. And so have you played it?
Yeah, I've been playing it, but I mean, my Wi-Fi at home is crazy fast, so I don't know there's any sort of lag or anything like that. So really, I gotta play it somewhere else to see.
Yeah. Well, it's good that yours has been working for you. I need to get a new router, is what I've learned. My router sucks. Yeah, so I need to get a new one.
Yeah, no, it's dope. I didn't know how light it was. Like, I didn't expect it to be that light.
Yeah, it's like, really, when you're playing it, I was like, wow. Like, this feels like, it feels like you're playing your PlayStation just, like, right in front of you, like, in your hands. If they took that to the next level and just made a device that, like, you can download your PlayStation games locally, and that was the design they used. I know, like, we were kind of clowning the design when it first came out, but it actually is really cool. So if they made yeah, I mean, it's a lazy design, but like, I like the screen, like when you're looking at the screen, like the screen is nice, and it feels like you're holding your PlayStation controller. So like, I like it. So if they mimic like PSP, then like, or if they made it like a real portable device where you could actually locally download your games, like, I feel like I'd be having a lot I'd be having a great time with that. That'd be a very, very solid device.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it's like it feels good in hand.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different than your literal controller. I mean, it is a literal controller.
Yeah.
It's split in half with a tablet in the middle. Yeah, so far I've had a great experience with it. I haven't tried any of the cloud streaming or gaming so far, but I don't know. I don't even know what I would want to play. So I just been playing God of War up there. I want to try Marvel Rivals on it just to see. I know like if I'm at home, I might as well just play Marvel Rivals on my actual.
You don't want to risk the lag when you're playing Marvel Rivals,
especially in ranked. Ranked they will flame you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Still reading Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I fell off a little bit, so my checkout time actually passed, but I was able to renew it, no problems, because there was no one waiting on it. So, but I'm in chapter like 60 something. This book is massive, so I'm at chapter like 60. But yeah, I'll be done with that probably this week coming up.
Nice.
Well, this was a couple weeks ago, but the Steam Summer Game Sale, I got Red Dead Redemption.
Nice.
I've always been wanting to play that, so I got that on PC actually. So I'll finally have something to play on my PC because I have not been gaming on my PC like that, even after I upgraded it. Yeah, I pretty much just watch Twitch streams on my PC. That's about all I do on there. But I did get a new Spider-Man comic. I'm all over the place now. Here we go. I got a variant cover here.
Nice.
Make sure y'all check out our YouTube. So yeah, Miles Morales variant cover style. This one has the Prowler on it. I'm not sure if the Prowler is even in it. I think it was just art for the cover. But yeah, I'm actually like 3 comics behind, so I need to get caught up on what's going on. I have no idea what's going on anymore. But the cover looked super cool. I chose to get that one. The regular cover is probably more closely related to what's going on in the actual show. And my other nerdy thing that I did, I watched Superman. I went and saw that sometime this past week. So not like the week that it dropped. Yeah, like a couple days ago. I will give it a 10 out of 10. I love that movie. It was a really good movie.
It was. I saw it too. Spoiler for my nerdy things. It was fantastic. Nice. So I'm not surprised because James Gunn often does really good things. But I was just so surprised by how much I enjoyed it. It was so good. So like, yeah, last week me and Jaja was talking about it, and like we were talking about like how political it was, but I hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, Republicans are stupid. I mean, they still are. But the movie was very political, but it was political in the best way for me. I was like, this is y'all need to watch this and like learn something. It was very like, it felt like James Gunn made this movie and based the plot off of like really what's happening in the world.
Real life current events.
Yeah, real life current events. So it was good. I loved that. So, and yeah, it was just great. It was so good. I saw it in 40X too. 40X is like my new thing now, and it was really fun. So
okay, so you got some money over there, is what I'm hearing.
Apparently, just for that. I'm going to see Fantastic Four on Thursday, and I'm not seeing it in 40X. So that's where my money stops.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, but no, I like that it wasn't an origin story. I've been saying this for the longest. We know who Superman is. If you don't know who Superman is by now, I don't think you need to know his origin to enjoy a movie. But this proved that it does not have to be an origin story. You can just I think there was like a viral tweet that said it feels like they dropped us off in the middle of season 3 of a show.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's exactly what it felt like. But at the beginning, they kind of told you like a little bit of what was leading up, like the text on screen. It was like 3 years ago, 3 weeks ago, 30 minutes ago, kind of thing. So I was like, okay, we know who Superman is. Give us a story now. We don't need to know how we got here and all that kind of stuff.
We don't. Like, let that be a lesson for anything. Like, we don't need any more origin stories at this point. Like, we've been doing this superhero stuff for like how many years now, like in live action. Like, we don't need any more. So I appreciated the fact that it wasn't an origin story either. I'm like, oh, great. I don't have to, because at first and I'm sure he said this already, but like I didn't know. But I didn't know if it was going to be origin story or not. That was a surprise. That was a pleasant surprise for me. I'm like, yes, it's much more interesting this way when we can focus on the unknown versus like, I already know how he becomes.
Literally,
yeah. So,
and they told a good story. There was some good action. There was some comedy in it.
Yeah, it felt very James Gunn. Like you could tell this was a James Gunn film. Specifically, in that fight scene with Mr. Terrific at the Planet Watch base where Lois Lane was there. That felt like a very like Guardians of the Galaxy scene, like where the music was playing, while the fight was happening. I'm like, this feels very James Gunn. So, Yeah, and I like that the movie was like bright and it wasn't like so dark and dreary like DC movies usually are. So it felt very
Yeah, you
different.
could actually see stuff. You could
Yeah,
actually hear stuff.
yeah, it felt very different. And if this is how we're gonna start off, like I'm down. I'm down for DC. DC. I don't know. Y'all might give Marvel a run for their money. I don't know because that was a very very good movie. It was very good.
Yeah, I'm not sure what future plans are for the DCU, but I mean, it didn't seem like they were trying to force everything to connect to some other
Yeah,
story. It was just like,
yeah,
all right, this is just a standalone Superman. There's some other heroes in it. If they get movies, hopefully Mr. Terrific gets a movie. I like Mr.
yeah,
Terrific a lot.
yeah.
He was very very cool. So
Yeah. And that's the thing, like they introed other heroes and it didn't feel cluttered with them in it. Like they were in it just like the right amount. The short Supergirl cameo we got was like really good. It made me like really interested to see like whatever she's gonna be in, like her movie. Like it made me interested to see that. Everything was done really well, like
yeah,
super super well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Superman.
Shout out to Superman. It was great. All right, real quick before our guest comes on, let me just run through what I have been doing. So obviously I saw Superman. I have been keeping up with Dan to Dan, so I watched episode 3.
Oh yeah, me
we're on.
too. I forgot. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Oh, there you go. Dan to Dan's Dan to
Watch
Dan's
this on
cooking right
YouTube.
now. It's pretty good. Yes, watch this on YouTube. Dan to Dan's very good right now, so I'm enjoying that season. I started watching Vigilantes finally. So I am on episode 5 or 6, one of those. So I'm getting there, and it's very good. Like I said, I read the manga, so I know what to expect. The show is very very good, and I like it more than I ever liked My Hero Academia. Just throwing that out there.
Vigilantes is great though.
I watched one episode of To Be Hero X. Y'all should have warned me about this animation style, James. I feel like I
It's
tried.
like multiple animation styles.
Yeah, it's like Cold Lyoko, and I'm just like, oh. So I watched like half of an episode, and then I was like, all right, I have to come back to this just because I wasn't expecting it, and it was throwing me off a little bit. So I'm gonna come back to that one. I'm not gonna give up on it quite yet. It was just something to get used to before you go into it. I've been watching The Summer Hikaru Died. I'm up to date except for this current episode that came out on Saturday, so I have to watch that. It's good. It's very creepy at times, but it is good. So I'm liking that. I watched a new anime. I don't know if you've heard about this one, James. It's called Takopi's Original Sin. Have you heard about that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you should watch it. It is good. I will say it's very dark. Like the first episode is very dark. It's a very dark anime. But like it's good. Like you get like it gets good, but the first episode's very dark and very depressing. So it's if you watch it, like
I'll have
you
to be
might
in the mood to watch something like that.
you will be deeply disturbed by the first episode. I was, but then it gets really good. All right, it's about time for the interview, so we're gonna take a quick break, and then once we're back, you'll hear our fantastic interview with Will. So stay tuned for that.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We'd like to welcome to our show Will Gwasera. He's a multi-hyphenate and founder of Dalian Studios, the creative director for Yasuke, the Lost Descendant. He's a voice actor, and he also does art as well, I've noticed. So we'd like to welcome to the show, everyone, Will Gwasera.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Will.
I feel very honored, of course, to be invited, so I very much appreciate it.
Great, and we're super excited to have you and like dive into everything you like to dive into this game. Before we do, though, something that we like to ask our guests when they come on is like what the nerdiest thing they've done this week.
And for me, I shall have to say watching Superman twice. Yeah.
Safe to say you liked it.
I just saw Superman last night. James, you just saw it like this week?
Yeah, Wednesday or something.
We were just talking about how good it was. It was so good.
Yeah.
I know everyone's holding their breath for this reboot of DC because DC has been like historically not that great.
Not the best. Yeah.
Not the best. This movie, it definitely delivered. It was so good. It was fantastic.
It was, because like I'm more of a DC fan than I am Marvel,
Oh,
like in
interesting.
terms
Okay.
of comics and all that. So it feels good to not have to be ashamed to be a DC fan anymore.
Like DC out loud.
Like, I can blare it across the streets that yes, I am a DC fan.
Some
You know-
redemption, finally.
I know, but it's true. It's kind of true though, because like this actually gives me hope for like what's coming up in DC now. Like I'm looking forward to whatever is gonna come out next. That's part of this universe, way more so than like I ever have been before, where I literally did not care. But yeah, So this is it. It was really good. So like James Gunn really, really delivered and really gave people stuff to look forward to for sure.
Done
So,
amazing. I knew
yeah.
the moment he got given the reins on it, it was going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm definitely looking forward to what's next. I might see it again too. So
Likewise.
Yeah.
do you like Marvel? Are you going to see Fantastic Four this
Oh,
week?
of course. I
Oh
love
yeah.
Marvel as well. Don't get me wrong. I love Marvel. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna go
Yeah.
see that.
I am looking forward to compare. Well, you can't really compare the two movies, but like since they're kind of like against each other right now. They're coming out in the
They
same period of time, so we'll see
Yeah,
how that
want
one
to see what
does.
Marvel's been cooking up.
They
Yeah,
kind
that
of they
one.
need it to do well, otherwise DC is gonna take over. Like people already kind of losing
Oh,
trust with Marvel.
definitely,
The
So
door will be open.
yeah,
definitely. Like this kickoff with Superman definitely should give Marvel something to be like a little bit afraid of, because yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, okay, great. So, Will, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your company and like you. Yeah, give us the whole thing.
Okay. Well, get your popcorn ready. It's a good story. So it kind of starts when I was 13 or 14. I decided to start modding games, and specifically, I was modding Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 and 2. And there's a whole arc of life for me during those years I was doing that with the teams that I was part of. And that's kind of like where I first got the initial team building experience and like working together as a team on stuff. So that was that whole situation, and then it was specifically 2019, and I remember the day so vividly because I remember I was playing GTA, I was driving in the desert area, and I was talking with my friend in VC. He's one of my friends from the modding stuff, and I said to him, I was like, "We're spending all our time modding. Why don't we just make our own game?" And then that right there was the kickstart to how it kind of all progressed. So I went into college for game design, but I started doing stuff before I went in there. So our first game was a JoJo Pokemon type of game that we were doing, like a little
Got my
pixel
attention.
fan game type thing. Yeah, it didn't go too far, but the ideas are still there. And I'm not gonna lie, it's still written in the back burners. Like though visually it would be different in the future if I worked on it, the idea and the premise is still kind of there in the files. And then after that, I moved over to Demon Slayer. So Demon Slayer Kibutsuji's Curse was the fan game I started making, and this was now 2020. And it kind of became a big thing because that's where a lot of people started to find out about me as well. Like, if I recall correctly, we even had like, was it Gloku or someone else was in our Discord server? There was some big anime YouTuber that was also in our Discord server. Like, a lot of traction was kind of gaining on it, especially seeing as I was talking and made videos about what I wanted the game to be. Um, all the while, I did like art on the side, and 3D modeling is like my main passion and what I do the most. So it kind of progressed more and more. Then the year of development, it got to a point where it's like, we're not making enough progress. But then also the other side was I was talking to companies trying to figure out like getting actual licensing. So I that was when I was first getting into that business mindset as well because I did a side entrepreneur course and things like that. I had done business for my exams in school and stuff. So this was now like applying that into the real life case
Yeah.
and study. And I remember how hurt I was because I spoke to, who was it? I spoke to Bandai and I spoke to, I think maybe Shueisha and some other company. And they said that they don't have any Demon Slayer game license rights. So from what it sounded like, especially with Bandai, I was like, okay, if Bandai don't have the rights, that means there's no Demon Slayer game coming. So we have a chance. And the next thing you know, I see in the V-Jump scans, there's a Demon Slayer game coming. And lo and behold, it was Aniplex that had the licensing, not
Got
Bandai.
it.
So yeah, and then obviously Sega was the publisher and stuff. But it was kind of for those reasons. It was like, okay, you know what? Let's shut this down. You know, it's been a good run as it is, but the team that was consisted of for that Demon Slayer project, some of them were people I met during my modding days, others were friends I met along the way, and so on. And then my friend who I started it with, he had kind of like backed out to do his own thing, and then we came back to do a God of High School game, fighting game. That one was a little bit of a small thing we did. There was only three of us. We wanted to like bring the team down, and then again we were like, this isn't it. This isn't it. And we just, stopped it. He went off to do his stuff, like he went to uni and he kind of left the whole game development space. But me, I was still determined. I still wanted to keep it going. And that is when Mappa had announced the Yasuke anime. So that's what made me like know who the person is. I was like, oh, who's a black samurai? Hold on, I'm kind of intrigued. I need to find out a little bit more. And then, yeah, I started doing my own research on his history and all sorts. And I was like, yes, I love this. And I think this may be it right here. So, with one of the friends that I had met during my years prior, his name's Marshall. And we actually met because of my YouTube when I was being a YouTuber and we collabed in that case. But he's a 2D artist. So, me and him started the Yasuke game. And he was essentially doing concept stuff and I was doing the models and whatnot. And we were like, we're just gonna make it just, I was thinking I'm gonna do everything myself. I'm just gonna have him doing the concepts and all the programming and modeling and animations. I'm gonna do this myself. I was wrong and I was a fool. I was not possible. But it was like 2 months into our time doing it. So February 2021 is when we started, and then it was like, yeah, a month or two down the line, I remember sitting down, I was speaking to him, I was like, you know what? I like the future. Like doing this whole historic, because the game was originally based on Yasuke, the historical figure himself. I think the name at the time was Yasuke, the Outcast Samurai, something like that. And I was like, I like the future. I like flashy neon lights. Oh, how about we change this and make it his descendant instead? And that's where the whole Yasuke Lost Descendant comes in. And that's when the spiral started going through. I was like, okay, this is an idea. So we went back to the drawing board. He drew up a lot of the ideas that I had given him for how we can get Tanaka Yasuke to look. And I even still remember the case that he was working his 9 to 5 and he'd be drawing during his breaks and then sending me the stuff. Also, excuse me if you can hear the sirens outside.
No worries.
City life. Yeah. But yeah, we continued on, and then that's when I dropped the first poster for Yasuke Lost Descendant, which was the first character model for Tanaka, and essentially the idea and the premise. And again, I was still in that dumb mindset because I even wrote the caption talking about this is going to be a game created entirely by myself, all this, yeah, yeah. And then as time was going on, I was like, okay, this is impossible. So how about let's get some of the friends that I had met prior, some of the people that I had met for the Demon Slayer game, and then some others, and kind of just like shift some people over and bring them onto Yasuke for those who were interested, to which a lot of people were interested. And from that point, yeah, the team started being formed. It was like some of the people, obviously day ones, they're still here. There's other cases, some people have had to leave because they've got other things they're doing and stuff like that. But it kind of just was a process. Now we reached 2022 and we have our first game build that's like ready. And we were part of the Black Voicing Gaming event. That's when I met Justin, great guy, and he loved the idea of what Yasuke was. I had had an interview with them and those folks, and we were showcasing the game. And essentially, this was now a case of okay, let's try and get some funding and let's try and like push the game out there, right? So a lot of our publisher talks, we were hearing the same thing again and again. It was we like the idea, but it's just not there yet. We need more. So like, okay, understandable. Meanwhile, Justin had shoved us over to the Humble Bundle and got us our first bit of funding. So we were able to then work with that to make a prototype. And my idea here, I was like, you know what? We're not just gonna like slightly update. Let's go back to the drawing board. And that's when we went as far as let's do the art style update. And that was the big twist in 2023. And that's definitely where like so much of our exposure started to hit as well. Because Tanaka's had 4 character models, I think. Because yeah, the art style just keeps updating. But now we're basically final. But yeah, so we were going through, we did the art style update. We started reworking how the gameplay was, like small things like the grapple hook used to be more like a Sekiro type of point to point grapple hook, but
Mm.
now we revamped it completely and it's like Spider-Man swinging instead. So all these ideas started to come through and we're just building it more and more as the time has gone by. We've gone event after event. We're at Summer Game Fest in 2023,
Awesome.
and yeah, people loved it. We were on IGN, the trailer there. Um, as I look back on it, like obviously as the developer, I'm like, damn, this is kind of ass. But obviously, it's like it's still a milestone nonetheless, and
Yeah.
it's crazy to see how far we've come. And even then, with the people we've now like built upon and the sort of people around us, like it's continued more and more and more. Just a snowball effect, really, with people finding out about the game. Even the case, in fact, like if you search Yasuke on Google, even just the name Yasuke, we will show up. But then if you obviously search Yasuke Lost Descendant, there's like so many articles, and it feels weird to like see it. We still don't believe it sometimes. Or even like the AI overview that Google does, where if you search one of our characters, it will give you the description on our character. We're like
Which
that.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So things like that. So it continued, and then I would say fast forward to where we are now. In March, we again thank you to Justin for having us part of it. We were part of GDC week, and we were at Day of the Devs and Spring Game Showcase, to which being in an environment like that, like because that was my first time abroad for work stuff, and knowing GDC as big as it is, I was like, okay, I'm really excited for this. But like, it's one thing to know it from the outside; it's another thing being there and
Yeah.
seeing how huge it is, and let alone how packed our booth actually was. When people were playing the game, like in the Day of the Devs event, the bigger one, there were so many people that came to us that was like, we saw your game from the other side of the hall and we could see the flashing colors and the lights, and I had to come over here. And I was like, hey, I'm glad that worked. I'm glad it worked. And yeah, we met some very interesting people, some amazing new faces, people who are now helping with the game now, business development wise or other aspects and stuff. Um, and even to say the type of people that we have who want to work with us, which we would be able to with the funding, like this actually hasn't been said publicly yet. So this is like a little insider that
Ooh,
you guys
okay.
can have
News.
there, scoop. One of our VFX artists, Tata Mikan, he is someone who is in Japan. He's a Japanese artist, and he joined a company to which I had a whole talk with that company. Essentially, that company is working with us now and as part of our VFX department. But aside with that, because of the people they've worked with, I remember the boss, he asked me, he was like, what else do you guys need other than VFX? And I was like, we're probably going to need animators at some point. And then he goes, "Oh yeah, we have someone from Guilty Gear. We got someone from DNF Duel. So like we can hook you up." And I'm like, "Huh?" Especially seeing as that's like our inspiration as well, one of them. So there's that. And then in terms of like music, people love our music. That one absolutely, my brother's amazing for what he does with vocals on the music, and then our producer as well. He kills it every single time with the task given. But we have an audio studio that was hitting us up. I won't say the name, but what I will say is, have you guys seen Demon Slayer by any chance?
Of course.
For
Yes.
sure.
Do you know Demon Slayer season one, episode 19, the Kamado Tanjiro song? No, the one where they're slicing off Rui's head.
Familiar. That was one of
Yeah.
the more popular episodes.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, the singer for that episode is someone who we may be able to get as well for Yasuke
Oh,
and other things as
amazing.
well. Like
Wow.
there's a whole lot of people who want to work on the game
Yeah.
and like, be part of it. So it's crazy to see the development of like this idea I started when I was 17. And now I'm 22 now. It's my birthday like a couple of days ago actually.
Happy
Uh,
birthday.
thank you.
Heavy rated.
Um, Thank you. And yeah, to see like how it's progressed with me and like how the idea has grown even more. It's amazing. That's all I can say really.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a journey that you've gone through to get to where you are now.
For
Thank
sure,
Um,
you.
yeah.
um, can you, so sorry, I just want to go, so through the midst of all of that, there's been it's like you've had a lot of success for sure. Like, what have been some of like the challenges that you feel like you've had to go through?
Oof, there's been a lot of challenges. There's been a lot. Okay, I would say for one is leadership will start with that. In the case of I love my team and I very much appreciate they all say that like I'm a good leader, I'm good at what I do. But it's definitely not easy, especially when you take for account that I'm actually one of the youngest people on the team. So
Wow.
yeah, it's like there's a certain thing to it, but then it's with that it makes me feel like one situation, for example, because I've started this so early, is I remember in one of my interviews prior, I got asked if I feel like it's not ruined, but almost like I skipped out on my childhood. And that much I can definitely agree with because it's like a lot of situations where you see, people are going to uni, they're going to parties, all this sort of stuff. Where I wasn't really doing that as much. And I'm not really complaining because I know it means I'm gonna have myself situated sooner. But it's like, yeah, there is that little bit of me that's like, I kind of wish I went through that a tiny bit. So there is that aspect, but then other things like trying to stay motivated, of course, because the game industry right now is very rough with the time that we're trying to
Yeah.
join in. Layoffs 24/7, even like getting funding is hard because no one has money. So
Yeah.
where it's being allocated is why it's so hard to like deal with that too. So then it's like trying to keep a project going when this is why I absolutely love and adore my team because for one, when we started the project, we did not have money and they were still willing to work on it. And even now in this day and age, though we've had areas where like we work without money, we got a bit of funding, we work with money, then we're back to work without money. People are still willing to jump on and help
Yeah.
regardless. And like I'll say to them, like, you are not obligated to do so now. I understand a lot of you guys, you have work elsewhere because, everyone needs their bag. We need to eat, we need to sleep.
Yeah.
The fact that they'll say to me, like, no, I believe in this project and that is why I'm working on it. And that in itself is like why this team is why I love them and why I feel like this
Yeah.
game's gonna flourish. We've had our fair share of people from before who you can kind of see they're only here for the money, so there's a bit of stuff there.
Mm.
But I would definitely say with the team that I'm working with, like now, a lot of the people who, again, who've been here since the day one, they're that's family.
Yeah.
Um,
Awesome.
like, yeah, genuinely, and so that makes it easier in that case. But yeah, in terms of other hardships, I would say making like standing out as well. Like in a
Yeah.
case of being an indie game where you're trying to make noise, but like how do you make noise when you don't have the noise to generate with? You know what I mean? Like a lot of
Yeah.
other things you can say, oh, this person, like this game is being made by X person who used to work on this, or X person who, that sort of stuff, brought to you by the studio that made whatever. But in our case, it's like we're starting from fresh. We
Right.
gotta build up from the ground up. So I will say one way I've kind of countered that, which I think is done well in our terms and how things have shown, of course. I always said, and my team knows how much I like push for this. Presentation is key. In the case of even when we started our like development on Yasuke, I was always like, we aren't gonna post like, oh, Twitter post of the week where we added this one feature or we added this one feature. It was like, no, we are going to wait the same way the big AAA studios is. It's fake it till you make it. Make it look like you're one of them and do it in that same vein. And what ended up being the case was each time we had an update, it was like an event. We had a whole day where it was like, a trailer's dropping on this day, guys. So be prepared for it. We'll start a live stream in the Discord so you guys can watch with us. Not only that, once the stream's done, which shows the trailer, now you're gonna start seeing all the renders coming afterwards, all the character renders and stuff like that. So even same case goes with like announcing characters for the game. It's never just a case of here's the Twitter post of this is the character. It's like we wanna put an oomph to it. Um, but obviously it gets harder where it's like, oh, how do we make it better this time? But I will say, luckily, each trailer we somehow have gotten better than the last. Our GDC trailer was an absolute like I'm patting ourselves on the back as a team. But the GDC trailer was really one to be proud of, and even like the noise it made, the fact that it got more views on our personal channel, which our personal channel only had like 1,000 and something subs at the
Mm.
time, but the
Yeah.
trailer got like 50 something thousand views, and it got more views there than our trailer, which we had years prior on IGN.
Mm.
So it was like this is saying something. Now, what's
Yeah.
funny in terms of hardships too is the Assassin's Creed game. Um, Obviously, there's been some flack about that whole situation in the Yasuke there. So we've had to deal with some things. But now on the flip side, for example, when we released the GDC trailer, I didn't realize Assassin's Creed had released like 2 days prior. It wasn't even in my mind. Now,
Okay.
it actually worked in our benefit. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Because I guess that's what people were searching Yasuke and they found, us
Yeah.
instead.
That was like
Um,
the perfect chance because
literally.
people are talking about this and like it's a relevant topic. So now it's like, oh, something else. Yeah, so I can imagine that helped a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And like reading comments, people, yeah, people loved it. I was expecting like, oh, people are gonna say, oh, comparing this to the AAA game, but no, it's like people were really appreciating and loving our game
Yeah.
and seeing like they're excited. And yeah, I would say that's kind of a lot of the hardships we've been through. There's obviously, a lot of stuff here and there, just a lot of pressure on our shoulders. Now that we have so many eyes on us, it's like, oh, what if we don't deliver? But we're gonna deliver, but like, kind of scared. But yeah, so I'd say that definitely would wrap that up.
Just real quick, sorry, James, if you were gonna ask a question, I just wanted to point out something from your earlier point when you said that you felt like you were like missing out on like your younger years or whatever. I'll just say to that, anybody can go to university and party, but like not everyone is gonna be having successfully developed a video game at 22, 23. So you should definitely pat yourself on the back for that. Don't feel like you missed
That
out on
is
anything.
true. That is true. Thank
I
you.
would I
You're
would
right.
take it a step further actually, and I would say a lot of people's like in their childhood they like kind of wish they could make a game growing up. So like this actually
Yeah.
is like some people's version of like, man, this guy's living my childhood or my my younger days of like what I wish I was doing.
Right. I definitely wish I was doing that for sure. um,
Yeah. I mean, like with that point as well, I do hear a lot. That's another thing that keeps me going is hearing that I inspire people to do what they want to do because it's like my obviously I want to tell a story. I want to be able to showcase this to the world, but I also want to showcase that like you can do it too. You just gotta start. That's it, really.
yeah.
Um, so yeah.
But how did you? Because like I know you said earlier that you started kind of like working on games before you went to school for game design. How did you even teach yourself how to do that?
YouTube tutorials and just reverse engineering. So it's like, let's download. We were using Unity at the time. So
Hmm.
now this goes on with the case in point of my art side of things as well. So one of my friends who I met during the Demon Slayer time, his name's Cryptic, and yeah, our other character modeler, technical artist, amazing at what he does. Well, I'll call him Ryan by his actual name here. But Ryan, essentially, me and him, we're kind of like always pushing each other up to go further and further with our art and 3D modeling skills. And one thing that he still does it, but I don't do it as much, which is VR chat models. So we made our own VR chat models. We would make it as commissions for other people, things like that. And that's kind of gave us the insight to game engine stuff because with doing VR chat, you actually have to use Unity and like build stuff in there. So once that like was the premise of certain knowledge, then it was like, okay, we can kind of figure this out and this out. But now it gets to the case of like programming and whatnot. And then it's like, okay, we need programmers and we need this and we need that. So yeah, it was just a lot of like YouTube tutorials and searching and seeing the other people who can help build and grow the knowledge. Like I'll say, when I started Yasuke, I was someone who I only did 3D character modeling. I dabbled in a tiny bit of animation, but it wasn't much. And then I wanted to be a voice actor, but when I started Yasuke, it was like me starting my voice acting career. Which, fun fact, I originally wanted to be an actor before I did game development, and it kind of came full circle because all the learning that I did for acting kind of just went to voice acting instead.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was kind of like how that situated. And then whilst we were using Unity, we got to a point where we're like, there is something we need to do artistically, but Unity can't handle it. But we know it's possible because we can see other anime games doing it, but they're all made in Unreal Engine. So now this was like, we got to switch, but we don't know how to use Unreal Engine. Um, so yeah, we had to switch over, and again, it was just tons and tons of research, learning, getting someone who knew how to do Unreal Engine programming as well. Though at the same time, one of our main programmers, or our main programmer, Napalm, absolutely amazing at what he does. He is a trooper to say the least. He, obviously did a lot of learning and did a lot of uphill development too. Yeah, it's like the project itself has been both a learning experience as well as doing what we want to
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You can really learn how to do anything on YouTube. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Versatile.
Yeah, because like James,
Yeah.
weren't you starting to teach yourself too how to like do
Yeah,
some?
so I'm actually learning game modding for like GTA RP servers, so like 5M servers.
Oh,
So
yeah.
kind of like your start where you just started off
There you
modding.
go.
So who knows where I'll go from here?
There you
My God,
go.
James, you're gonna follow
Yeah,
in the same footsteps. Watch.
possibly.
Put that
Yeah,
out there
no,
for you now.
definitely. Yeah, put my software development skills to use somewhere finally. Well,
Precisely.
outside of work, outside of my day job. So
Sorry, now I'm losing my train of thought. How did you? Okay, so you. Okay, so you're an animator. You're a voice actor. You're a video game developer. I don't know. I guess like how did you? I mean, I guess and like all three things are kind of like surfacing together, right? Because did you voice characters in this game as well?
Yes.
You did, right? Too.
I'm Tanaka
Tanaka,
Yasuke.
did you do another one?
Yes, I'm one of the villains as well.
Okay, amazing. I listened to your VA reel and it's really, really great. It's really good. So I'm just like, when did you start that? Like, I know you said you wanted to be an actor first. So like, where did that passion come from? And, when did you decide that you wanted, like, this was going to be like I know you turned it into voice acting and then you kind of like melded it into video. Like, where did it kind of like start for you? Yeah.
Well, I guess it would be a case of I'm a very creative person. Like, I guess
Yeah.
from young, I want to tell stories and I want to be in stories. So that's why I also wanted to be an actor because I'm like, oh, I want to be part of the big screen doing all this cool stuff. But then came a case once I started to watch anime and like, I think the first anime I watched, which shout out to my brother for obviously showing me this, it was Gurren Lagann.
Oh my God. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's like what was
Yes.
I? Gurren Lagann's like my favorite. It's like one of my
Yep.
favorites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my top three. It's always been there since that. Like, I think I watched that when I was 6 or 7,
Yeah.
maybe. So yes, like from that point, I was like, I love anime. This is cool. And then now you mix that with the storytelling stuff, and obviously as I got older, I'm like, wait a minute, I could tell stories or be part of stories doing much cooler things than you can do in live action with like acting. If I'm a voice actor, I get to be part of
Yeah.
it. And that was kind of like the tester with Yasuke. So me and my brother, as we grew up, we were always doing impressions. Like we can do some, we can do some very good impressions. Like the main ones, we got like Bane from Dark Knight. I can do Plankton, Perfect Cell. Like there's a whole bunch.
I'm sorry, can we hear one or is that putting you on the spot?
I can do it. I can do it.
Okay.
I'll do Perfect Cell because that's one of my like best impressions that I could do.
Okay.
See, you got this.
No
Okay,
pressure, no pressure.
check out my perfect form. It's perfect. You know.
Amazing. That was great.
So, as like we did those impressions, then it was always a case of what other impressions can we do? What more can we find out? What more? All this sort of stuff. And then it's also like you kind of find the vocal range because if I actually continue, so Plankton, Bane, and Perfect Cell are all in the same voice range. You just have to change the way it sounds. Like obviously for Bane, which I'll give you guys more so you can hear as well. For Bane, you just got to put the mouth over, then you make it sound a bit more like this, and you really adopted the dark. I was born in it, that sort of thing. But
Yeah, yeah.
then with Plankton, he sounds a bit more sophisticated with it. It's like, what's the secret formula, crabs? There's there's a sound like to it. So it's as doing that, you kind of find the different vocal ranges. Then it's always like, how far can I push it? And I know with some voice actors, like there's different categories of voice actors where for some it's their main voice is just the voice that they kind of use. They'll kind of shift it slightly, but then there's others where it's about range. And for me, I'm the type where it's range. I found more and more the range I can go. I can sound like a 11-year-old, a teenager or something, or I can go as far as like a senior old man, you know. Um, and as you find out more and more, then it's like, wow, I can kind of expand and I kind of want to be in these things now. Especially then as you watch more and more anime and you're like, I want to be in this, I want to do this role. And then it got to a point where I started reading manga and I'm like, wait a minute. They haven't gotten to this part of the anime yet, so I could have a chance to be this character if I try. So I like, for example, my top wish list of characters I want to try and be as in JJK. Wait, before I start spoiling, do you guys know
Yes.
future stuff? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
JJK, Higuruma, is someone I would want to voice act. But then, funnily enough, I did a Kashimo versus Hakari animation that I voice acted on. You guys may have seen it because it blew up everywhere. It's by Adamati X, and I voiced Kashimo in that, and a lot of people liked my Kashimo voice. And for me, when I did it, I was just like, okay, it's whatever. Like, it's not really one of my favorites, but it is what it is. But a lot of people were saying like that's exactly how they imagined hearing Kashimo, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe that could be another one we go for. Dandadan, we have Zuma in the future. I would love to be Zuma. And that one, I feel like I got a bit more time to get myself in the industry because I think he would appear by like season 4.
Hmm.
So we still got a lot of time there. And then there's other like random one-offs. Like I want to get into Marvel Rivals. I want to get into Tokan, Fighting Souls. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, I mean like as my time has progressed as both being an artist and like being doing Yasuke as well, that's the benefit I've had with learning and meeting a lot of voice actors. Like it feels weird to say now that I'm kind of friends with Zeno Robinson because I mean, he's been supporting the project since 2022.
Yeah.
So he's always like been retweeting our stuff and always just showing support. And then when it got to a point where I was saying like I had been wanting to get him on the game, it was just scheduling stuff was kind of the situation there. But now we finally, we got him aboard. We had a whole stream about it and everything. But then I was kind of talking to him about like other voice acting stuff too. Where I'm just like, yo, I kind of, I do want to get myself out there, and
Yeah.
him obviously helping with where I can try and shoot my shot in places and giving info where he can. And yeah, a bunch of other people that I've met. Evan Michael Lee, the voice of Nagayuki in Guilty Gear, as in Transformers 1. And then, of course, all the other voice actors who are part of Yasuke and the casting directors who getting all this knowledge is like when you're kind of directing everything, you get to see how things work in all these different aspects and places. And then it means when you want to do it yourself, it's so much easier to like learn how to do it. So
Yeah.
that's how I kind of expanded. Even with animation, I didn't really know how to animate. I was animating whilst on Yasuke, but then once I saw how my animators were animating, it kind of like clicked in, and it was like, oh, I get to do this like this, and then da 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 da, and then lo and behold, now I know how to animate. So yeah, with voice acting, it just was a case of I want to be in things. I want to voice act the flying character, the shooting beams, and doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's I admire the way that you kind of like look at like aspiring to do future projects just by like from reading manga and like getting far ahead and like thinking like, oh, I can do like that's a super cool way to like aspire and like visualize things for yourself. That's awesome. Did you I'm sorry.
Out
Oh,
yet.
sorry. Go ahead, James.
Oh no, I'm saying especially if the character's not out there, like you imagine to yourself, like, all right, what would this person sound like? And then
Yeah,
with your skill set, you're like, okay, I can figure this out.
Yeah, that's true manifesting right there for sure.
exactly.
Did you sorry, I don't know if you said this already. Did you teach yourself how to voice act?
Yes.
That's amazing. You can really do anything. As a people out there listening, you can literally do anything yourself if
Yeah.
you just really put the time and
Give it a
dedication.
try.
Because like
Yeah.
the range, like the impressions that you just did for us were like really really spot on. So it's like I can't even imagine like trying to teach myself how to do that. Like
Yeah.
that's really cool.
It's literally just like trial and error. Like you just try and try again, and then especially as I was saying, like working with other voice actors, and even let's take our older voice actor Chase. Absolutely love the homie. Again, whenever we do recording sessions, it's so hilarious because we'll be chopping it up, having jokes, all that, and then the moment it's 3, 2, 1, record, all of a sudden we hate each other because you know how it goes. But he has his side stuff with the Schmuck Squad, Grimjack, which is like a bridge series and stuff,
Hmm.
and they've had me aboard for things. And with that, he would also direct me on how to do certain characters that they wanted to do. So it's like you kind of take the knowledge, and not only that, because I'm someone who watches anime in both dub and sub, because I'm not someone who's like, oh, a sub enthusiast.
Yeah. Likewise.
Like, it genuinely just depends if the dub is good or not. That's all it
Yeah.
is, right?
Hmm.
So because I hear both, it's like the one thing that's really dumb with the people who are kind of like sub enthusiasts is they are the same thing. They do the same thing. It's very exaggerated. It's just because you don't understand Japanese that you think it sounds cooler. But it's like realistically, they both sound the exact same. They have the same cadences. Like that's something that also helped me with my voice acting was kind of figuring out, okay, if this is what this character sounds like in Japanese, how do I take those same vocal cadences and vocal tones, but with how English speakers sound? And you kind of develop on how that goes. Or other skill sets I've come to learn from doing all this. Cold script reading is something you have to learn. I got told that from some voice actors. One of my friends went to an anime con and asked a bunch of voice actors questions for me and like got them to record the answers and stuff. So I really appreciate him for that. And one thing they all said was cold script reading, and that is true. Is the case that you need to be able to pick up a script or anything you're reading, and you need to voice act it the first time you're reading it. Like you need to be able to know how you're going to give off that emotion as you're reading the text. And it's like you're reading ahead whilst you're speaking what was before, whilst you're thinking about how the next line is going to sound. It's like a whole thing there. But me and my friends, literally, me and my friends, we do a lot of comic and manga reading together, where we then voice act and like pretend to be characters. And then obviously when there's only like three of us or something in the call, sometimes four, we have to do multiple characters, and sometimes when the characters we're doing are speaking back to back, you have to keep switching your voice back to back, like in the same conversation. You're talking to yourself
Yeah.
essentially. um, so yeah, that's like part of how I learned. And yeah, it's kind of just a process, and then the more and more you do it, the more that's why it's really good to also read things by yourself, because you then have to go through the mindset of how does this character sound, how, like, looking at them, how do they sound. I can give some examples of stuff if you guys would want to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
Sure.
Teach us something. Yes.
Okay. So let's say Higuruma, how I want to be Higuruma in JJK. He's a lawyer, he's a lot more slicked back, he's like chill, but he has a sort of impending force to his voice and stuff. So it's like it's my most comfortable voice. And it's Hiromi Higuruma. You ever take a bath with your clothes on? It feels better than you think. It has like something to it. Meanwhile, if like when I was voicing, we were doing Blue Lock readings, and I had to voice like Kid Asagi. I think that was the first time I actually read or like tried to do a kid voice, and I was like, oh wait, I can do a kid voice. And it's like, you got to really take yourself up here, and everything's a lot more energetic, and it's like, I'm a child, like that sort of thing. But then let's say you're getting way older. We're reading Kagurabachi, and this is where I unlocked this voice, as you could say. And it was the like at the very beginning, some mob gangster guy, kind of big, heavy, that sort of look, and like you really gotta put it back in your throat, like the pause, the way that you gotta like the way you speak has to sound like it's a lot of effort to get the air through your lungs. He's a traitor. Stop him! Like that sort of thing. And yeah, so it's fun to figure out how someone sounds, and then especially when there's multiple takes of how you can do it. And the way, like, the key thing I would say is find your most comfortable vocal tone and vocal range. For me, it's that, again, Higuruma, Kishibe, like the older guy who's not retired, but like he's tired of what he's doing. He doesn't want to be here. That sort of voice is kind of my most natural. But then one of my inspirations is Liam O'Brien. He is the voice of Asura in Asura's Wrath. He is the voice of Gaara in Naruto. I love his screams and the emphasis he puts on, and I really want to be a scream voice actor as well. So it was like, I know one person to learn screams or like study. Other than Asura, Broly from Dragon Ball. So I can do a good Broly impression. There is that. If I was to give a quick example, I gotta like get into the tones. Kakarot, Kakarot. That sort of whatever. But yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Bravo.
this guy's very
That was
talented.
yeah, seriously. That was
So
so
I'm curious to know,
cool.
like, some of your other inspirations. Like, what are some of the shows and games kind of that made you fall in love with anime and gaming? Because I know you mentioned uh, Gurren Lagann. You've mentioned Guilty Gear a couple times, so it seems like you're into
Yes.
fighting games for sure. And you mentioned
Yes.
Tokon Fighting Souls. So, like, what are some of the
Yes.
shows and games that got you to fall in love with the hobby?
Okay. The first one I will say off rip is Attack on Titan. That is my favorite anime of all time. for the story writing, for the foreshadow. Like it's just amazing, and the way oh, I forgot his name. Why Isayama? There we go. The way Isayama wrote the manga, from the fact that he wrote the end first, so then everything could get connected without plot holes and all that. That's the exact same ideology I took into place with Yasuke. So the end of Yasuke was made first, and like whether you want to take that phrasing, however you guys want to take the end of Yasuke's phrasing, take that as you will. But regardless, the end of Yasuke was written first with that idea in mind, or like obviously the beginning first, and then it's like, okay, here's the end, and now it's like let's fill in the in between. And it's taking that mindset of how can we just shock the viewers in a way that like when they play this a second time, they're gonna say like, "Whoa, that was there the whole time," or "This was there the whole time." So I'm gonna say that right now to those listening: when you play Yasuke, every single bit of dialogue, every single like even small things you may see in the background, just pay attention. Just pay attention because you never know what will or won't come back up later in the story. So there is that. But so Attack on Titan, that is number one, especially with characters and his character writing. Though I will say one thing that I did not take from Isayama's character writing. One thing he said specifically was when he was done writing a character's arc and didn't think there was any more, he would kill him off. That's why so many people died in Attack on Titan. So it's like, okay, fair enough. I'm not gonna do that though. But then others, Jujutsu Kaisen, that's up there. A lot of, I guess, stakes being at hand, feeling like everything matters with what's going on. Dragon Ball, of course, that's one of my, it's one of those where like
I
you
love
don't
Dragon
say
Ball.
it's your favorite anime, but it's like it's there. Like you're
Yeah.
always gonna be a Dragon Ball
Yeah,
fan. So
Dragon Ball is such a I love Dragon Ball so much. Like
yeah,
people talk about Dragon Ball Z all the time, but I'm like, Dragon Ball is great, guys.
Dragon Ball's amazing. See, I got a
Yes.
question for you guys real quick.
Mhm.
What's your favorite transformation in Dragon Ball?
I don't know. I don't even
They
think
had
I've
three.
given any thought to that.
You
Honestly.
haven't.
I
See,
don't think so.
Yep.
for me, I will always
Super Saiyan 3.
Super
It's
Saiyan
because
3. Okay, I'll,
Mhm.
I'll I'll give that. That's valid.
That's a fair answer, James. I don't even know. I can't even answer that question.
That's understandable. For me, I'd say Super Saiyan 4. That's just something about it has something to it. But
It
yes,
looks coolest.
Mm.
it does, and even the Daima version. But I digress. So yeah, in terms of other things that inspired me, so Dragon Ball in terms of like not family, but you know what I mean. Like it's a very
Yeah.
familial type of writing. Naruto is another big
Mhm.
one because of Naruto's world building is amazing. The
Mhm.
characters you'll meet, even like you'll get expositions on side characters that like you're hearing their whole story, and now you're like, whoa, we can get a whole show based on just this, which they basically did because they would dedicate a whole part of the show based on this character and so on. So things like that. Then if we talk like outside of story, and now let's talk like visually, because that's the other thing with everything I do, it all comes to the same thing is I am a visual storyteller person.
Yeah.
I like if I wasn't making a game, I'd be making a TV show or something like that. That's
Yeah.
what I'd want to do. And Arcane is up there.
Mhm.
Absolutely love the visuals in Arcane. Spider-Verse,
Oh,
and
yes.
yep, 10 out of
Spider-Verse.
10.
Oh my God, Spider-Verse just got delayed again. Sorry, guys. That was in the
Yeah,
news
I
this
know,
week.
I know. Sad. Funnily enough, one of the friend who I started Yasuke with, he was
Mhm.
doing a challenge when Across the Spider-Verse came out. He started a drawing challenge, which was drawing Spider-Man every day until Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out. And he got to day 500 or 600 or something, but then it got delayed again and again and again. And it was like, yeah, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep So I don't blame him there. And if he was still doing it to this day, hearing all these delays, oh yeah, I know
Oh my
it'd be
God. Yeah. I mean, hopefully we get to see that movie soon.
that
I'm just
hopefully, yeah.
hoping.
At this point, it's just we gotta wait. We gotta
Yeah.
wait and see. But yeah, Spider-Verse definitely. I love the like that one is one that I did a really big deep dive into how they worked on stuff and how they did things. And again, I'm kind of lucky enough to now be friends with some of the people that worked on the movie, so I may or may not have heard a couple secrets on how they did things here
Oh,
and
you have
there.
the inside scoop. Okay.
Yeah, so it definitely helps with how we Like obviously we have our stepped frame rate, like the on-twos animation and stuff, but it's obviously not a case of. That's another thing. A lot of companies, ever since Spider-Verse, have tried the on-twos animation. Sometimes it goes really well, other times it doesn't look the best and feels kind of jarring to the eye. We're obviously still trying to perfect it ourselves, because it's trying to do it something different. Like
Yeah.
it's in the same case with Guilty Gear, and that sort of chopped animation. The thing that Guilty Gear has, which works, is because the camera is also animated on twos because they control the camera. But in something like Yasuke, where the player controls the camera, now it's becoming a whole thing. You're trying to figure out how do we make this look smooth when this is using this, and it's so
Yeah.
much more intense trying to do it in a 3D space. But that's been part of the process that we've been figuring out, and like again, some of my team creating tools that have been really helpful to us building this. But other than like the frame rate standpoint, the use of colors, the use of like storytelling through what you're seeing as well. Sometimes it's show, don't tell.
Yeah.
And Spider-Verse, especially across the Spider-Verse, seeing so many different types of people, spider people and so on come together in one place. It's then that's been also kind of like a major focal point with Yasuke, is it's not just diversity in terms of Black and African heritage. We have so many cultures we include. Like if we talk Rengo districts, so the game is in districts, and the first district is the one you start with. That's where Tanaka lives. That is the most unified place. Literally, the name Rengo means unity.
Hmm.
And in that district, I think we showcase 17 different countries, 17 or 18 different countries. So the same way you have like a Chinatown or Japantown, things like that, we go everywhere, like Brazil, Philippines, stuff like that. So we really showcase that and try to like go with that. And especially then with our bosses that we've showed recently. I say recently, it was like a month ago, maybe a month and a bit. But the Yasuke bosses, those are characters I cannot wait for everyone to get to experience, because each one of them is so unique. So you're gonna like love them, and you're just gonna be like, can I have more? Now that they've kind of been announced, I can say we have, starting from the start, with Kenny, which every country I will say is our own version of the country,
Okay.
because we have like our world map. But Kenny is from our version of USA, very patriotic, very makes sense. Then we have Vasilia. Vasilia is our version of Russia. Um, I'm trying to make sure I'm not like I'm remembering the right things to say without spoiling certain things. So I'm like finding the right words. So yeah, Vasily is from Russia. Masika is from Egypt. Hisaya is location unknown. And who else? Robo 9K is from the UK. To which he seems to be a fan favorite already.
Mm,
Everyone loved his one-liner at the end of the mini trailer, so there was
mm.
that. Um, but then yeah, so that would be another reason like why those Spider-Verse as well are inspired. And then of course, as we were saying, Guilty Gear, because it looks amazing, plays amazing, and it's Arc System Works. They've paved the way for anime games to be like phenomenal
Sure.
looking.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
two, I would say there's two branches. You have CyberConnect 2 and you have Arc System Works. Arc System Works has it in terms of character models and shading and lighting and everything there. CC2 is VFX work, and like with the Naruto Storm games, just amazing. So they're another like inspiration as well as the Storm games and CC2, especially with them making Asura's Wrath. That's another one. Asura's Wrath is like one of the biggest inspirations on the game, in terms of making you feel like you're watching an anime whilst you're playing, and that is a very key point that I've made prevalent. And I will even say this kind of mixes with Asura's Wrath, but also Spider Verse and stuff. But I would say one of the unique selling points for us that we have is in the same way when you're watching an anime, when like there's a Sakuga scene and now the art is different and someone's drawing it, a different artist drawing it, so on, right? We are using those same fundamentals in 3D. So you will see the shading change, you will see the art style change and form, and that's like it's something that hasn't been done in the game before. And because it's obviously like when it looks really good throughout, right? But we want it to be like, yes, it looks good, but when it looks good. Like, um, so yeah, that's where I say like some of our biggest inspirations are there.
It's awesome. When do you think that we can expect to see the game released in full?
Well, honestly, it's we're waiting on a publisher. Like
Got it.
that
Okay.
that's the main thing. So the timeline in terms of when the game is out, we have the exact timeline of how long it's going to take to make the game, but
Okay.
it's now getting the money to do so.
Right.
So we're talking to publishers, we're talking to investors and whatnot, but until we secure the deal and until we start getting paid for it, because yes, we've been able to work free time, but
Yeah.
now it's the case of if we get funded this full amount, it will now become a lot of our full-time jobs. So that speeds up development. That means we can put so much more time into it,
Yeah.
all this. So once we get that, then you can get an expected date. But until that
Yeah.
point, the date just pushes further and further.
Got it. Yeah. It's the corporate tape.
Understandable.
Corporate tape. Yeah. But hopefully soon though. Yeah, for sure. Um, James, do you have anything else?
Yeah. So when
Yeah.
you're pitching to these studios, what kind of unique selling propositions do you have to them? Like these publishers, oh, well, the publishers. I mean, like how are you like,
Um,
all right, this is why you guys need to invest in us.
That's a good question.
Well, yeah, we actually, funnily enough, we made a new pitch deck like a couple weeks ago, which kind of pointed out on some more things. But our strongest points would be music is one,
Mm.
because there isn't, as far as I know, a game out there with Afro beats as the main music. But then not only that, our music isn't just Afro beats, because as I said about us bringing in other cultures and diversities, what we do is we take that country's music and mix it with Afro beats and mash it into one to make its own
That's
unique
really cool.
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you hear each of the bosses and their themes, for example, you're gonna hear how different each one sounds.
Yeah.
And
Music is a big thing that like I mean, I'm sure that everybody thinks of it when they're developing their games, but like it's really like the music and the soundtrack of a game really makes the experience. Like I don't know if you've played like Expedition 33 at all.
I
Well,
haven't yet, but I want to.
okay, but the music in that game is phenomenal, and like that's kind of like what keeps me. Sometimes I'm just sitting there, not even touching the controller, just like listening to the music. So like it really makes the experience for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like,
When I played the alpha for Yasuke, the first thing I noticed was the music. I was like, oh, we
Yeah.
rocking
yeah,
right now. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yep.
the menu screen, I was like, oh
The
yeah,
men
this is
yeah,
straight
on the
right
menu
here.
screen, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys loved it because yeah,
Yeah.
literally, even with like, that's the great thing with I live with my brother, so with when it comes to doing music stuff, we our producer, he'll obviously give us a beat for something and we'll listen to it. So that main menu theme, the OST in the background is actually the free roam music,
Hmm.
and there was a time that me and my brother were listening to it and we were like, we started humming like "Sing beside, sing," and then we were like, wait, hold on, we're kind of cooking something here, and then it was going back and forth, and then he would build up on it more, and then yeah, it's kind of like being able to build up on that and also give meaning to it. Because the music, I want it to be like the same way Persona is known a lot for its music.
Hmm.
I want the same case with Yasuke, where like, yes, you can know us for a lot of other things, but I want Yasuke to be in your playlist. Like, it's not just separate on its own, that's in your
Yeah.
main music playlist. Uh, so that's definitely something that we take account for a lot. Uh, and it's been fun, a very fun experience to do. I love partaking in like getting the ideas. Like, one thing I'll say, though it hasn't been announced yet or shown, it will be shown in our Yapcast actually. Kenny's theme. It's a mix of country music with Afro beats. It's a very
Nice.
unique sound. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you guys will hear that. Um, and yeah, I'm just trying to think like, I don't know, but music you already know, as we're saying, very important part. But in terms of other stuff with the like pitching to publishers, art style, of course, the same way I was saying about showcasing different arts and um, making it feel like you're watching an anime.
Yeah.
And that goes on to another point, which mm, can I say this? I guess I can. I guess it is. Um, it has media potential for things outside of games. So that is
Okay.
something that
Yep.
companies really like and they really
Yes.
love is that if it can do more than just be a game, and that's something we want it to be. So TV shows, movies, I have a lot of stuff planned. But I digress. Yeah. So that too, and then yeah, obviously our numbers and stuff. People like
Yeah.
how many people play the game, how many people are
Right.
seeing it. Um, that's a very big thing, and that's why like wishlist numbers, for example, are so important because essentially a publisher, yes, they want to see like the game, but like let's take for example one of our business development people that we work with. He's been around the block in terms of like companies and places he's worked at, and he was telling us like, in all honesty, you guys are way further than a lot of games that get like published or get their funding, It's just we need to showcase the statistics more. And that's what a publisher cares about more. It's like, okay, are we gonna make our money back? How many people do you have that's gonna ready to buy the game? This, that. What are your views looking like? Us as a publisher, how much marketing are we gonna need to help with? Like, is this starting marketing from zero? But for us, it's not. We have quite a big fan base already, and like all this stuff. Where I feel like right now we're in the best position we've ever been, of course.
Yeah.
But it's working out best. So I think we may be on the plus side. We'll see. But yeah.
Nice.
So those are some of the things that we pitch towards him.
Nice.
Outside of like just pure sales, how would you guys define like what a success looks like once this does come out?
Okay, there's one dream that I've had. Like it's so small, but the Game Awards, right? Other than like winning Game Awards stuff, the specific thing I want to hear is our theme being played and people singing along. When like, because that's already the case where like when we do our live streams of showcasing our game and stuff like that, people they sing along to our music and we hear it and it's amazing. But back it was like when E3 was actually happening. E3 was the one I wanted to have, but E3 doesn't exist anymore, and so
Sadly.
on and so forth.
Yeah.
But definitely with the Game Awards and stuff, where it's like if I could hear a whole room of people singing along with that song, it's like that right there. That's that means a lot.
Made an impact at that point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll be one of those people. I love video game music. So
I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you. But then other successes I would say is Game Awards really like
Yeah.
my kind of if I was to manifest which Game Awards I'm trying to win is music, storytelling, visuals, and then of course Game of the Year. Like
Of
so
course.
yeah.
Not
those are
voice
the-
act not voice acting?
Yeah, voice acting too. Let me
Wait,
know.
wait, you got
Let me not forget.
No, that
Um,
was a
definitely.
given. We didn't have to, yeah, we should have known.
Yeah. Again, in terms of voice acting with the game as a whole, I still like sometimes I sit and look at our cast list and I'm like, I don't understand how I've done this. I don't understand. Like we have so many talented voice actors, newcomers, upcomers, but then even big names, like I said, Zeno Robinson, we also have Alex Lee, we have Evan Michael Lee, we have like there's more people who haven't been announced yet that we're currently trying to get as well.
Yeah.
So it's like voice acting for the game as well is gonna be a lot. But then there's a lot of pressure on my shoulders as the main character because I'm like there's a lot of big names on our roster. I gotta make sure I'm not outshined as the main character. So yeah.
I don't think you have to worry about that. You're
Thank
you're
you.
great.
Thank
Yeah. All right. Any more, James? Do you have any more questions before we kind of wrap up?
Yeah, kind of my last question here.
Yeah.
So, what are some ways that you guys would accept or are looking for support from the community? So, like,
Yeah.
how can people support you guys?
How can we help you? Yeah, for
Wish
sure.
lists, tuning into live streams, and any other things you guys, any other ways that people can show up for you guys?
Yeah, literally that. So I'd say wish listing, joining our Discord, following our socials, watching our trailers, all that. Like all those numbers add up to showcase. Like in our pitch, for example, we have pages dedicated to how many people are followed, how many people are, all that stuff. And being able to say larger and larger numbers does change a lot for publishers and whatnot. So it's kind of like that. Playing the game, of course. If you haven't played the alpha demo already, make sure you play it. Just saying for the people listening. Obviously, we're still rolling out updates. Like though we are kind of on the back now because we're doing more of the business stuff. We're still working on small updates here and there to try and like make the experience a bit better. We actually just dropped a tutorial mode sort of thing like last week or the week before, I think it was. So yeah, little things like that. We've obviously been reading your comments, reading the feedback we've been receiving, and kind of just building off of that. So just playing the game, showing support, feedback on what you like or you may have not liked, so then we can improve on it more. I will say that is also a hardship, which is this is the first time I've obviously dealt with something like this in the public. So when receiving negative feedback, I was like, oh, this kind of hurts. But obviously, you build up from it and you see it as like a let me improve, and that's exactly what it was. It was like because when we first released the demo, was things that was not broken on our end suddenly was breaking everywhere else.
Mm.
So now it's like, whoa, we have a broken product that a lot of people complain about. We're hearing a lot of bad things. We need to try and, chop this up. But at the same time, we couldn't do it instantly because, like, let's take for example our programmer Napalm, who I mentioned. He was up for 2 days straight. I told him, go to sleep, bro, please. He was up for 2 days straight just working on Yasuke, trying to get this stuff cleaned up before we released. But even then, like, as much as he could fix, new things just arose and all that. But then it was like, yes, there was that 1 or 2 days of like, oof, this is kind of rough. The day after, we picked ourselves back up and it was straight back to it. And it's like, let's get that first patch out. And that
Nice.
first patch, which came the week later, was a big improvement already. We fixed a lot of things, and then yeah, since then I think we released one more, which is the tutorial one, a bunch of other fixes too, and that's just how it's gonna keep going until we go towards the full game. Because the idea with the full game is, again, this is just an alpha demo, pre-alpha at that. This is a concept to give you the idea of what the game is. The moment we get funded for the full game itself, we have to reset some of our gameplay systems and pretty much rework them completely to now work coincide with each other and a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, it's like this is just a proof of concept and people wanted to play it. We obviously went to a lot of events, people have played them at events, but people at home wanted to play it. So we're like, we didn't even have to release the demo. It was more so we could just give this demo to publishers and work this out. But we were like, we know people want to play the game and publishers want to find out if people are going to play the game. So what better way than letting people play the game?
Yeah, for sure. All right, so my last question for you is like what knowing the knowing what you've gone through and the amount of success that you have been able to achieve at such a young age, message do you want to give to people who are kind of like looking, who they're looking at games and like I want to do that, or like they're looking at like and they're like I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, what advice do you want to give to them?
Mm. Well, as All Might said, you too can be a game developer. But yeah, I would just say just start. That's all it
Yeah,
is really. Like, I know a big case and worry is like, oh, how do I do this? Or what if I do this? What if like, but it's just genuinely just start. As I
yeah.
said with my story, it was that day with the GTA playing. We said, why
Hmm.
don't we just make a game? And we were using, I forgot what was it RPG Maker? I think RPG Maker was what we were using for the Pokemon JoJo game. And it was like, it's something. It's not like obviously industry standard, but it's something. And it's like, I know there's a popular Twitter post that goes around every now and again, which showing like an imperfect circle, then a circle, and it's like just start it and then perfect it later, and
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's
yeah,
like you just gotta go for it, believe in yourself. There are going to be times where you feel like you cannot do it, but you still gotta push through regardless. Definitely have the support around you of people who will motivate you, but also not just motivate you. They will call you out if there are places you need to improve on. So that's one thing again, with voice acting, I appreciate from my friends is there would be times I'll show them voice acting. I'm like, how do you feel about this voice for this character? And they'll be like, I ain't gonna lie, bro, it's ass. And I'm like, fair enough. I mean, shit, that's what I'm asking for. So with that in mind, it's like being able to get real opinions so you can really build upon what you're doing. But at the end of the day, keep focused on what you want. And the moment you'll feel with the thing that you want to do, you'll feel it click. And that was me with Yasuke. Like before Yasuke, I was kind of, roaming around, trying different things. But the moment I started Yasuke, I was like, this is it. And the moment you find what it is, don't stop. You just got to
yeah,
keep going till it's finished. And
yeah.
yeah,
And I think another important lesson here is that like you don't really need like you can just start with anything. Like I know a lot of people think that like they need like
yeah.
college education or like anything like that to like be able to, but like you can, like you said, like you started teaching yourself before you even went to school, so you can kind of like do this stuff and get that foundation yourself, and like you don't need all the big fancy expensive resources that you think you need a lot of the time. So I think that's
And I'll even say about the school stuff, I'm gonna be honest, school didn't help me as much as like
there you
it was supposed to. Like, in like let's say there was a lot of different departments we worked with, right? Because it was games, film, VFX, and animation, right? So in terms of game development, I don't remember any of the coding stuff we had done then, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we worked in Unity and then a bit of Unreal Engine as well. But then let's take 3D character modeling. When I did modding for Xenoverse, I did character modeling, yes, but it's using other assets. It was after I stopped doing modding, then I was doing modeling from scratch and making my own stuff, to which the quality obviously drops because now you're trying to figure it out yourself without the blueprint. And it was just doing it time and time again. COVID time, I was a turtle hermit. I was out like modeling like 7 hours every single day. It was like, yeah, it was crazy. But when I was in school or in college for it, this is the funny thing. My teacher, okay, I'll give you a good story which will then sum up everything. There was a time we had to model a desk for the lesson. That was the whole lesson plan, by the way, was modeling a desk. And I did it in 5 minutes. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of bored. And then I just went on to do other things. So I was modeling a chair and I modeled a PC and a screen and all that. And I remember the teacher walking behind me. He didn't say anything, but he side-eyed me and then told the rest of the class to do the same thing. So I was like, okay, so that's what we're doing now. And that was it really. Like, though the classes with like modeling and that stuff, it didn't really help me. Like, yes, it kind of helped. The other thing was it was Maya. I don't use Maya, I use Blender. Um, but I just did it at home and I just figured it out. YouTube tutorials, self-teaching, trial and error, and I figured it out much easier, much quicker than I did in college. So it's like you don't need to force yourself to know like or to get those big things or need the studies or all that. You can literally do it in the comfort of your own home. And yeah, same goes with animation as I was saying before. Like my animations before were terrible. They were terrible. But now I'll give an example. The style attacks, the ultimates. If you remember the cheetah one, which was all zoom and then the flashy impact frames, all that. I animated that sequence in 3 days. But then obviously with the VFX and stuff, I had help from my team and whatnot. But in terms of the raw animation and kind of setting everything up with the sequences, that was a span of 3 days. Yes, there's been updates as time has gone on, just small tweaks here and there. But it's like me when I started Yasuke would not have been able to do that. But simply because I've been working on Yasuke and because I've been going again and again, trial and error, working with the people around me and realizing this is how I can do this is how I can do this. Or then your favorite media, like one of the things in Arcane that we're taking from or like really inspiring from is their realistic face movements as much as it's an animated thing. And that's the same sort of ideology we're putting in now that goes into our character rigs and so on. But I digress. Yeah, so don't think you need a bunch of stuff. You can just do it.
Yeah, you can. And kudos to you because animating is so hard. I took an animation class in college and I remember I spent like 30 hours on a project and then it got corrupt from my flash drive and then it was all gone.
Damn.
I was like, I give up on this. I can't. But like
Yeah.
I admire all the hard work and time that goes into that craft because it definitely is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. All right. Well, anything else you want to say before we kind of wrap up? It was
Uh,
great having you. This was really fantastic.
Yeah, I was
Sure,
gonna
yeah.
say thank you
Yeah.
for having me. It's been some very good questions. I'm not gonna lie, and I hope everyone's been enjoying listening through.
Yeah. What do you want to just like say out loud your social media? Like where can people find you and follow you and support? Yeah.
Well, we have a lot, so if you want to follow just me personally, I on my socials you'll be able to find my voice acting stuff as well, my random art that I do, my YouTube videos. I also stream. I was supposed to stream yesterday, but my PC hated me, so there
Oh,
was
I
that.
saw that. Yeah, I was trying to.
Yeah. So on my socials, Dalliance RNG. That's DALLIENCE, and then RNG. Fun fact: RNG does not stand for random number generator. It stands for Rinnegan because that was one of my initial things with Naruto when I started my stuff, and hence the purple. That's why everything I do and like is purple as well.
Sense.
Um, yeah. So Dalliance RNG on Twitter or X, YouTube, ArtStation, Patreon, Gumroad. There's everything. If you just search it on Google, you'll see all my stuff. I actually have a card as well, so that would work. And then in terms of the game and the studio, you search somehow we got this handle, Yasuke the game. And on Twitter, Blue Sky. Oh, I'm also on Blue Sky, by the way. But yes, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube. That is still Daliant Studios. And do we have anything else? Of course, Steam. Yasuke Lost Descendant. Wishlist it. Play the demo.
Wishlist it. Wishlist it, everyone.
Yes, and I think that is all our socials for the most part. I may be missing some, but yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod. You have to, if you ever have some free time, you should come on again. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I'll be down to do so, definitely.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Will.
Thank you.
All right, James, anything else before we wrap up for the week?
Nah, none from me.
It's going to be a very good episode. Make sure you listen to the whole thing. It was so great. I just want to say thank you again to Will for coming on and talking about his journey with Yasuke. It was very good. So, yeah, I learned a lot from him. So it was great.
Definitely a lot. Yeah, I hope you guys are able to take away a lot from here. Also, in the spirit of Will, to get this interview, I literally just DM'd him. So sometimes you literally just got to do it yourself. Just shoot your shot. There was no sort of formalities. I just DM'd him on Twitter, and then he said he would come on. So easy as that.
Easy as that. Sometimes all it takes is a simple DM. Thank you, James. That's very good. Let's see who else we're able to get on our show with simple DM in the future. Manifesting that for sure. All right. So we will be back next week with another episode of the podcast. Make sure to follow us on social. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at Blerds Nerds, follow us on TikTok, BlerdsNerds_pod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We just need all of our audio listeners to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us out in that way. Just migrate over.
Just subscribe.
So easy. Yeah, just give us the subscriptions.
You've been missing my dap ups.
You have. And all the cool things that James always has because he has a lot of money. You're missing.
Now we out here lying.
Okay. Send us an email, blerdsnerds@gmail.com, if you are interested in coming on to the podcast to talk about your work. If you're a creator or color in the nerd space, you can have a very good interview like Will just had.
Yep, we'll link all of Will's socials down below too.
Yes, we will. They will be in the description. So if you want to follow him, which you should, make sure to check down there. Also, make sure to wishlist Yasuke. I'm going to wishlist it right away on my Steam Deck. And hopefully by the time the game comes out, I will be better at it. Because I meant to tell him this, but I kept dying when I was playing the demo. I don't know, because the demo's not verified for Steam Deck. So I don't know if it was because of that or if it's just because I particularly sucked at that game. But I meant to tell him that I was struggling a little bit. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. As always, I'm Shannon.
I'm James.
See y'all later. Bye.